Going to continue to farm up energy and hope Drill Run gets Ferrothorn out of here. Sandslash is still alive and very healthy in the back, so we need to always keep a charge move bank the opponent at a potential Thunder. Sandslash will survive, and we're going to blind throw the Drill Run. Anticipate the opponent going for the snipe. There is the attempted snipe. It's now going to be Shadow Claw versus Bullet Seed. Who will win? Well, you're going to have to watch the video to find out. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're back at it in Azumarill Cup. Sorry, I mean Fantasy Cup. I can only apologise. I think this is probably the worst cup we have ever seen. I don't really know why I'm apologising, because only about 6 people are watching this content anyway. However, if you are one of the 6, I'd appreciate you showing me some support and smashing that like button. So why is this cup so terrible? It's probably because Azumarill is on 99% of teams. It's here, it's there, and it's every fucking where. If you're playing it, you're probably running Azumarill. If not, you're looking to hard counter it. Either way, it's a pretty frustrating experience. Back in Season 15, when we had Fantasy Cup in the Open Ultra League, I did manage to hit Legend with a team of 3 that is all eligible for the Open Great League. So I thought, sod it, why not try and run it and see if we can have the same success. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in Game 1, we'll lead the Cupcake into Turtonator. If you're wondering why I've got Play Rough, it is for this matchup specifically. Because Slurpuff should run Energy Ball and Flamethrower. Of course, Energy Ball is for Azumarill and Tapu Fini, Flamethrower is for the Steel types. Due to this stupid looking Burnt Dragon, being a Dragon and Fire type, both them charge moves would be double resisted, so I'm forced to go for Play Rough. Play Rough, not a particularly good move. It's 60 energy for 90 damage. Moonblast is actually 60 energy for 110 damage. However, we don't get that, so it is what it is. We lose lead, we then send out Weezing. The opponent bait me with a Dragon Pulse like a savage. However, they're now going to be forced to 2-shield. The opponent does indeed commit both Protect Shields, and fuck it, we're going to put it all on alaoln Sandslash. Teams that run Turtle in the lead are incredibly weak to Sandslash. Hi buddy, what have you got for me? So due to the way the game registers fast move damage, our second Shadow Claw will register on turn 3. Their Incinerate would register on turn 4, so we managed to snipe with 2 Shadow Claws before even taking Incinerate, and the opponent then sends out their own Cupcake. You'll notice I throw on Charge Move Priority Event just to see who wins. This is an IV dependent CMP tie. So we now can only throw 5, one before the next Flamethrower, and it's time to get that Cupcake out of here. The opponent's final Pokemon is Whimsicott, and despite seeing the stupid turtle in the lead, we're off to a 1-0 start. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see our long-lost friend, Azumarill. Just kidding. This is going to be a matchup where we're really going to miss Energy Ball. If Slurpuff had access to Moonblast, I don't even think you'd need to run Energy Ball, as Moonblast would do 20 more base damage with a 10% chance to lower the opponent's attack. But Play Rough is so underwhelming. Azumarill does land that own Play Rough again. We're going to throw it good time in 1, 4 and 7 all the way. And you can see that 2 Play Roughs just don't knock out. In this ABA team, I just never really switch out. I just soft lose lead in situations like this. Come in with one of the back 2 Pokemon, look to get ahead in energy. The opponent not wanting to get farmed down. Send out Lucario. And holy crap, Sandslash definitely doesn't want to see this. What's even worse is I've only played this meta for 3 days. And the teams are pretty boring. The opponent bait me with a power-up punch. This again is only a power-up punch. However, if you're wondering why this is terrible, a very common team with Lucario is going to be S-Cav in the back, so Sandslash has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. I never bait, however, I take the opportunity to bait the opponent, call an S-Cav in the back. The opponent actually chooses to shield up the overheat. I'm now actually going to shield up a power-up punch, and if you're wondering why, I don't want to get sniped. When a Azumarill switch timer pops up, you can see now I pause a turn, ensure the overheat lands on Lucario. Get that Lucario out of here! I was unsure if 4-stage debuff an overheat would knock out, so I blind switch into Sandslash. We're going to fire off the Drill Run. The opponent doesn't make a catch. Drill Run's going to get the opponent incredibly low. Sandslash's double weakness to counter there done me a huge favour, as the opponent still isn't at the back-to-back moves. They're actually 2 counters short, so we're just going to shield up whatever the opponent throws. We get to Fairy Wind farm down. Azumarill would get sludged to the face, and the opponent's going to concede the match. A bit dicey, but we get the job done. Moving on to the next battle, Skarmory, another dreadful lead. However, we can't switch out, and unlike Weezing, we can just go straight Flamethrower with no worrying of lowering our own attack. We land the Flamethrower. It does respectable damage, not too much, but decent. The opponent fires off the Sky Attack, then get a very nice Steel Wing farm down, and of course, this is where you're going to send out Sandslash. A Brave Bird will do a lot because Sandslash is incredibly glassy. The opponent full send a Brave Bird. We shield it up. We get a huge Shadow Claw farm down. What does the opponent send out? Out comes Haxorus. I'm trying to double up on Ice Punches, but these non-stab counters are tearing me apart. So I'm just going to throw 1 Ice Punch, and I need to pivot. So I want to keep some health on Sandslash, as we might need it in the back. The opponent continued to stay in, so we're going to go straight for the Sludge. Sludge actually goes unshielded. I believe this is only 9, but I'm worried on miscount. It's 10 to the Earthquake. I shield a Breaking Snipe like an absolute potato. However, if the opponent stayed in such a bad matchup, they're likely weak in the back, and they are. This combo is using Poison Jab, however they're only neutral due to our sub-poison typing. We land the first sludge. This second sludge will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. When Switch Timer pops up, I'm going to force him to close combat my Sandslash. However, they actually don't do that, so we snipe with the Ice Punch, and we're going to be able to take that game. GG's. Today's top tip is stay in school, kids, and learn to count. A shield and a break-in swipe, when they're not even at the energy for an Earthquake, is painful. In the next battle, we'll see Azumarill in the lead. The opponent say switches into Sandslash, and I'm happy to stay in, as our Flamethrower will be double super effective, so the opponent is going to be forced to start burning shields. This is a bit of a puzzling counter swap from the opponent, as essentially they're just going to have to shield everything or get one shot. We tank the first charge move, we're going to shield the second, and see what the opponent wants to do. I don't really care if I get Switch or all shields down. If we take Switch, we'll realign Weezing onto Azumarill. If we get all shields down, we're pretty happy. So we're just going to take our shield advantage. The Cupcake has done its job. I'm going to bring in my own Sandslash and look to get an energy. Of course, we're going to have to give our shield back on the Drill Run, but Sandslash with energy is pretty good in this meta. The opponent full sends the Drill Run. We're going to overfarm before throwing our own Drill Run. The opponent banks up a small amount of energy and then send out Azu. I bank my energy, and now we're going to send out Weezing. It becomes very apparent that the opponent doesn't have Hydro Pump as they throw the Ice Beam as soon as they get it. We're going to throw the Sludge. This Sludge is such a bad move. My god, do I miss running my Shadow Pokemon? However, triple Shadows in this meta is quite difficult. We're going to throw the second Sludge on the CMP tie, looking to farm down with Sandslash. The second Sludge isn't lethal and puts him into perfect farm down range. However, my opponent puts a Spanner in the work. They make a very heads up play, undercharging the Ice Beam. You can see I do have the move banked, have a commit to the farm down as I don't want to give the opponent any free energy. We actually simul KO and the opponent sends out Ferrothorn. I think double Drill Run would have been the correct play as both moves are neutral and Drill Run does do better DPE. However, in this matchup I've just got to continually overfarm as we know Sandslash is alive and they do have a small amount of energy. The opponent's going to throw the fun down and I think they're going to attempt to snipe. So you're going to see I'm going to blind throw the Drill Run, anticipating the snipe. Drill Run will be secure on the knockout. It's going to be Shadow Claw versus Bullet Seed. Who will prevail? And we're going to take the tie. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see the Shadow UFO. This is a petrifying lead. However, we do survive one mirror shot. The opponent needs a full send of Wild Charge to take me out. We call the bait and I get nuked. Very nice. The opponent then send out Galarian Weezing. We're going to throw the Drill Run. And then I'm going to look to try and catch a potential overheat onto my own Weezing. This is essentially a guessing game. When are they going to throw? We make a random catch, and by magic, we somehow make the catch. Pretty lucky, but it is what it is. Much like the previous battle, I'm going to put all my hopes and dreams on my Sandslash. So we're going to give no Protect Shields to this Weezing. The opponent fire off another overheat, guaranteeing the knockout. We send in Sonic. I'm going to overfarm just a small amount and throw the Drill Run. I doubt the opponent's shields. Drill Run secures the knockout. The opponent's final Pokemon is Azumarill. Oof, I think we might die to quick moves. As always, we're going to be super disciplined with timing. 2 turn into 3 turn is 1, 4 and 7 all the way. This is only an Ice Beam, but I'm forced to shield everything because we'll die to quick moves if I don't. Again, we're going to overfarm 1, 4 and 7 all the way. I actually opt for 7, which is 14 turns into 15 turns. That's 1 turn before the Ice Beam. Unfortunately, that isn't quite lethal. The opponent banks the Ice Beam and then send out as a Magnezone. I fire off the Drill Run. Drill Run forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. And unfortunately, we are going to get a fast move beat down and take the loss. GG's. Slurpuff, Flygon. The opponent say switches into Reggie. And we're going to bring out Weezing, as Weezing absolutely wants no part of that Flygon. The only objective I've got in this matchup is to force shields. The opponent fires off the Zap. Of course they get the attack drop, because this piece of shit Tin Can always does. However, despite a debuff, this overheat will do big damage. The opponent shields the first, so bearing in mind this is now 3-stage debuffed, and you're going to see overheat is no joke. It still does almost half their health. If the opponent attempt to full lock on farm down, we'll even make one further overheat, so instead the opponent overfarm, fire off the Focus Blast, securing the knockout. They're now actually in Flamethrower range, however they're going to reach a charge move regardless, so instead I'm going to send out Sandslash, shield once, and we can now massively overfarm and get ahead in energy. The opponent might actually look to switch out, not wanting to give us any free farm, and they do. Back out comes Flygon into a loaded Slash. That is an interesting counter swap. They completely sack the Flygon, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. The opponent sends out Ferrothorn, and once again, we're just going to continually keep head and energy. That's why I'm throwing Ice Punch. Of course, Drill Run is better DPE. but I just want to keep as much energy on Sandslash as possible. So speaking of which, stay in school kids and learn to count. We look to catch the Thunder back onto the Cupcake and the opponent actually opt to bait. Interesting. Looking at the damage we took from the last move, I imagine we will survive this and get off the flamethrower. Oof, we don't get new mechanic. The opponent farms down. That's 3 bullet seeds, which they bank, and then they send out Sir Reginald. I fire off the drill run. I doubt the opponent's shields. We go for an undercharge, however, it still secured the knockout back out. Comes Ferrothorn. They're now at 4 bullet seeds. We're just going to go straight Ice Punch all the way. Ice Punch isn't lethal. The opponent now has the energy for a Thunder. Only lose con would be trying to shield flex. The opponent choose to bait, which is very strange, as they're not going to make another charge move, and we take that game. We see another Flygon. Actually a pretty neutral matchup. The opponent only throws 6, which can only be a Scorching Sands. It's 7 to the Earth Power, so they shouldn't do too much, but ouch, it still hurt, and they get the attack drop. However, do they know about the play rough? They might think it's only an energy ball. However, the opponent does shield. We're just going to stay in, sack our lead. If the opponent gets greedy and go for the double resisted Dragon Claw bait, we'll even make another play rough. Which they do. Thank you so much, trainer. The opponent's already seen play rough, so they're probably going to double shield, which they do. They're going to get a very nice mud shot farm down. The opponent actually opt to throw again. We'll take that. The opponent does have residual energy. They throw a further 3 mud shots, so I think this is either at the Scorching Sands or one shot. I'm going to respect it. Of course, the opponent baits for the Dragon Claw, and then they send out a Azumarill. Sandslash is already quite chipped with the bubble damage and the mud shot damage. We're going to fire off the drill run. We're then going to farm up to when the opponent has the energy for a Hydro Pump and anticipate the opponent baiting with a play rough. We send out Weezing. The opponent holds their energy and fire off the Ice Beam. So evidently they haven't even got Hydro Pump. As the opponent threw the Ice Beam after 8 bubbles, I'm in somewhat of an awkward spot if I want to throw at good timing. If I look to throw 4, the opponent would actually outpace me to the next Ice Beam. I could have thrown 3 on the CMP. However, Sludge isn't lethal, so if I did that, the opponent likely took the extra. Again, you'll notice I intentionally do not throw the Sludge. I want to come in, farm down the Azumarill. The opponent not wanting to get farmed down, send back out Flygon. As I got baited earlier, I don't want to play any silly games with it. Throw the Ice Punch, get that Flygon out of here. The opponent's final Pokemon is Registeel, and Sandslash Upper Shield is going to have an easy path to victory. What I notice running Sandslash in these battles is Sandslash with a shield advantage and energy is lethal. The opponent, of course, fire off the Zap. They get the attack drop. We're just going to farm up to the double drill run. One drill run will be taking care of Registeel. Azumarill has hardly any HP. We're going to throw the drill run regardless as I'm debuffed, and we're going to take the dub. GG's and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see another Flygon. This meta is so limited, so I apologise for the repetitiveness. This opponent again doesn't build up to the Earth Power, so an easy tank of the Scorching Sands. Well, not easy, it does quite a lot. We then pause a turn, ensuring the play rough does land on Flygon. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. Get that Flygon out of here. The opponent now sends in Tapu Fini. And this is where a limited meta can cost you, as I anticipate it's Azumarill in the back, so I opt to throw the play rough. I don't hit all the bubbles I lag, but it still does big damage because Tapu Fini isn't Azumarill and isn't anywhere near as bulky. I can now send in Weezing as the damage sponge. I imagine the opponent's going to pivot out into Azumarill, and ouch, my team read is horrible. We build up as an overheat bait with the Sludge, and I have to pivot. We then pivot into Sandslash. I'm going to call the bait the first time. In hindsight, I think that's a mistake. You can see Mirror Shot does a reasonable amount of chip damage, despite it being a dreadful move, and these Volt Switches have already got me below half health. I'm now forced to start shielding up obvious Mirror Shots. We return fire with the Ice Punch, Shadow and Shadow Crime. This isn't even a bait, as Magnezone has a non-existent defense, and now I'm in such a tricky spot. If I shield this move up, we're just going to get surfed on our Weezing. So we send in Weezing, the opponent pivots back out into Fini. We attempt the cute play of undercharging a Sludge, leaving with the overheat, but we're actually just going to die to Water Guns. I think I played that matchup super poorly. That's sometimes what happens when you try and hardcore teams. In the next battle, another Flygon. Are you serious? This opponent makes a very nice attempted Energy Ball catch onto Galarian Weezing. Behind an Energy, our team doesn't really have a great answer for a G-Weezy. So what I do is I throw the Flamethrower, then look to catch the Sludge onto my own Weezing. On this moveset, my Weezing is absolutely dreadful against Flygon, so essentially I'm just going to sack it. I look to get off the Sludge but lose CMP. My Weezing's got terrible IVs, it's like an 8, 11, 13 or something, but every CMP type I've managed to lose. The opponent sends that overheat, securing the knockout. We can send back in the Cupcake. I can overfarm, fire off the Flamethrower, and Flamethrower will be lethal. We've still got 2 Protect Shields apiece. The opponent actually opts to send back out Flygon. Hopefully no Earth Power. The opponent throw the Scorching Sands, they get the debuff, and then send out their own Cupcake. I'm going to fire off the Play Rough, and then we're going to go for the world's most aggressive Shadow Claw farm down. You can see even debuffed, it does look possible. The Play Rough did do a solid chunk. If you're wondering why I don't throw a charge with it, I think the opponent's going to save both shields for Flygon. And even if that wasn't their plan, sorry trainer, you have no choice. They're now 6 off the next flamethrower. We need to farm down in 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go, Sonic. Back out comes 2 shielded Flygon. They're now 4 off the Scorching Sands. The first Ice Punch forces the final Protect Shield. They're now 3 off. Come on, Switch Timer, please pop up. You can see it's almost popping up. I'm spamming the switch and it perfectly pops up at just the right moment. And that is a game-winning catch. Scorching Sand secures a knockout. We fire off the Ice Punch and we're going to be able to take that game. GG's. The cup might be trash, but I hope you're still enjoying some of the entertaining battles. In the next battle, see Lucario in the lead. The opponent say switches into a Azumarill and I respond with Weezing. I don't often shield my Weezing, however, of course, alignment is going to be key. I can't lose switch advantage. If the opponent builds up to a potential Hydro Pump, I will respect it. Weezing's damage output with these stab sludges is pretty pathetic. The opponent has enough for the Hydro Pump, I respect. They actually bait me with an Ice Beam. We've seen in previous battles, Ice Beam isn't all that threatening. However, the opponent could actually 2-shield and take switch, but either way, if they did that, I'd come in with Sandslash, Shadow Claw farm down and get the drill run ready. The opponent actually opt not to make a play at switch. We're quite low on health, but Lucario will have a tough time with double resisting, counter farming down before the overheat. We commit to the overheat and we're rewarded. Overheat goes shielded. Boo, Mr. Opponent. We're of course going to send back out the cupcake. The opponent build up easily to a Shadow Ball. Please don't Shadow Ball me. Please, trainer. Oof, that does a lot. Again, I pause a turn, ensuring the opponent doesn't make a catch. Of course, Flamethrower would hit this Bear Trap for super effective. We're going to need that energy later. So we switch out into Sandslash, throw the drill run on the CMP side to a potential Earthquake. I am going to shield this up. The opponent full send the Earthquake. Rock side won't get the job done, so the opponent is going to commit to another Earthquake. We throw 7, throw the Ice Punch on the CMP tie. I think the smart play from the opponent is to no shield this, look to counter farm me down and win CMP. However, the opponent actually burned their final shield, which gives me an easy path to victory. We're going to come into Slurpuff, farm up to 100 energy. Flamethrower is going to be more than enough to knock out the Bear Trap. We're going to outpace Lucario to the next Flamethrower, and we're going to be able to take that game. GG's, and thanks for playing. I think this is why it's important to watch your battles back, as if the opponent watches that battle back, or on the off chance they're watching this video, they might see the win con. In the next battle, we see a great lead. The opponent say switches into Skarmory. And we haven't really got a great response to this. The Steel Wing buff this season means they're actually not too bad into Sandslash. You can see these Ice Punches just tickle. We're actually able to reach the next Ice Punch on the CMP side, and this is huge for me. As with Skarmory out the way, our fairies should be pretty free to roam, and we don't need alignment. We're just going to sack the Sonic. I'm going to send back out Slurpuff, 1 shield, farm down, and get ahead in energy. The opponent is going to reach another charge move, so we're just going to shield this. The opponent's going to be forced to show their third, as they can't return into a loaded Slurpuff, despite being upper protection, or at least you'd think. The opponent does indeed reveal their third, which turns out to be a Azumarill. Again, Play Rough, so underwhelming. Please give Slurpuff Moonblast. The opponent doesn't build up to the Hydro Pump. They've only thrown 6 bubbles, so this will be a Play Rough. Slurpuff withstands the damage. I'm going to want and throw the next Play Rough, hoping the opponent gives up a Protect Shield. If they don't give up Protect Shield, either way they'll be in sludge range. Finally, the opponent gives up that shield and I pivot into Weezing. As we force the opponent's first Protect Shield, we're going to shield up the incoming Ice Beam. The one shot of a Hydro Pump, the opponent actually throws the Play Rough. A very, very questionable play. They then send out Haxorus. Even if they're on Surf, it's going to take them 12 to reach the double Surf. So this is just game, set and match. Weezing is going to outpace. Before Haxorus reaches 1 Earthquake or double Surf, the opponent burns their final shield on the sludge. The next sludge is going to secure the knockout. It's going to be high Haxorus by Haxorus. When Azumarill does return, they're going to need to Hydro Pump to secure the knockout. They don't make it. We reach 1 further sludge. I don't even think this is lethal because it's such a shit move. But we're going to be able to Fairy Wind farm down afterwards and take that game. In the next battle, we see another Haxorus. I think it's absolutely astounding how much influence some of the big YouTubers have. So rise to the occasion, posted a Haxorus video yesterday, and now everyone's running it. I didn't see any before that. However, a good lead for us. The opponent say switches into Slurpuff. We land the Flamethrower and pivot out into our Weezing. The opponent fires off a Flamethrower. We're going to be able to get this thing out of here with the sludge, and we're sitting in a great spot as Haxorus can't return. The opponent just completely sacked their Slurpuff. They do actually send back out Haxorus. So on the off chance this opponent is running Surf, we throw 5 Fairy Winds, one before the potential Surf, but instead the opponent opts to throw the double resisted Breaking Swipe, and then they shield up the Sludge. These counters are double resisted, and Weezing refuses to die, reaches one further Sludge, and I'm astounded the opponent invests both Protect Shields. What the heck's in the back? The opponent's even staying in when I return with Slurpuff, and again, this isn't an Earthquake. The opponent fire off the Night Slash. Interesting moveset choice from the opponent. Again, this is only a Night Slash, and would you look at that, the opponent gets the boost. However, I still commit to the Fairy Wind farm down. The opponent's final Pokemon is Whimsicott. I don't even need to reveal my third. The first Flamethrower lands for huge damage. We're going to outpace to the next Flamethrower, and Sandslash can have a well-deserved rest on the bench. GG's and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see another Man of Culture repping Shadow Sonic the Hedgehog. Very nice. This matchup was a lot more comfortable in Ultra League, unlike the Great League, where we have a lot less bulk. We can still tank any one move, and of course we're going to pause a turn, ensuring the opponent doesn't catch the Flamethrower, and this should force a Protect Shield as it's double super effective. We're just going to stay in, sack our lead. I was tempted to shield here, but if I shield here, the opponent's just going to Shadow Claw farm me down, so we're just going to take our shield advantage, send out our own Sonic. Of course, we're going to shield up the incoming Drill Run and then look to over farm. Of course, this opponent gets super greedy, going for the Ice Punch bait. Why not? Shadow on Shadow Crime. The opponent then looks to make a catch onto a Zoomerall. We hold all of our energy and send out G-Weezy. As I've already seen, Sonic with energy is lethal. We fire off the first Sludge, as always, very underwhelming. Luckily, despite it being underwhelming, it's pretty spammy. It only takes 5, then 4 to each one. The opponent tanks both, and I've got no intentions of shielding this up. The opponent needs to throw the Hydro Pump, which they do. We send back out Sandslash. I'm getting quite close to being capped out on energies. I'll throw one Shadow Claw and the Ice Punch, which won't be lethal. However, will allow me to Shadow Claw farm down, and we leave absolutely loaded. And unfortunately, in this game, Sandslash, with a whole heap of residual energy, isn't going to be able to sweep the back line, as that Toxic Turtle is going to be able to incinerate farm down, and we take the loss. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the final battle of the video. Slurpuff into Berserker. The opponent attempts to catch a Flamethrower onto Flygon, and do they know? We send the play rough. Does the opponent respect the damage? Get that Flygon out of here. Flygon straight in and straight out, back out comes Berserker. We fire off the Flamethrower. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not, and that is going to be all she wrote. A very nice double boom to end today's showcase. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.